Okay, this first video is just going to be an introduction to the basics in Matlab, just to get everyone familiar and on the same page with using Matlab. Feel free to skip this video if you've used Matlab before, but I'm not really assuming very much at the moment as far as what background you have. So let me first introduce you just to what's going on the screen here. If you just open a fresh session in Matlab, you'll find there's a current folder, a command window, a workspace, and these are part of the layout on the screen. In other words, you can close and open these things as you need them. I, for example, think that current folder takes up quite a bit of space on my configuration. I like to have a larger command window, larger workspace. If you prefer to see what's in the current folder, feel free to keep that on the left. But you can also see with this file menu, this file bar, what current menu you're looking at, what current folder you're looking at. And you can always change that folder pretty easily. I'll show you some examples of how to do that as we go. And what goes in those folders that is of interest to Matlab is usually scripts. There's going to be .m files and .mlx files. I'll cover one of each of those as we go. So what is Matlab? Matlab is a high-level programming language that can do lots of things that are just sort of what you see is what you get. If I type something like a equal to 3 and hit enter, what happens is Matlab stores in memory in its workspace the variable name a and the value of that variable 3. Notice I put a semicolon at the end of that line. If I don't put the semicolon, the command window will output my input as well. And furthermore, I can ask it just what is a, and it will also just tell me what a is if it's currently in the workspace. Introduction to a few keywords here. If I want to clear the command window, I can type CLC and that will just bring everything back. That doesn't erase the history, the command history, which I can hit and look at what was typed in recently. I can also just from the command window hit up and down on the keypad and line by line go through that command history. In other words, it'll automatically pull that up if I hit up and down. Some other things that are pretty helpful, if I type in a long expression and I say to myself, well, what was that long expression again? If I hit half of it, AB let's say, and tab, it'll give me some options. And one of those options is going to be the variable name. So little shortcuts like that can also be utilized. If I want to clear the workspace, I can, instead of hitting CLC, which just clears the command window, I can hit clear, and clear will erase everything in the workspace. Okay, so those are pretty helpful things just to get started, and that covers the basics with assigning variables, for instance. Another thing that's really important about Matlab is that it's a finite precision arithmetic library. So if I do something like the following, let's say that a is going to be now 1/3. Okay. The value shown here is to 4 decimals. Is that what Matlab has stored a as? 0.3333. Well, there's one way to check this, and what we're going to do is type format long, and that's going to format the Matlab output in the command window to show all of the decimals, which in this case is 16 decimals. Okay. Now, if I type a minus 1/3, what happens? Let's see. We get 0. Okay, but now watch this. If I type in b is equal to 0.33333333, and let's see, how many do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 threes. Okay, that's not exactly 1/3, but let's see what a minus b looks like. Okay, and what we'll notice here is that it's 3 times 10 to the negative 10. But why aren't all of these 3's, for example? Shouldn't it be 3, 3, 3 repeating forever? And the answer is, well, it has to do with Matlab being a finite precision arithmetic, giving finite precision arithmetic. Okay, so the smallest number that Matlab can compute up to is the machine epsilon, which in double precision, that's Matlab's standard and default computational procedure, is 2 times 10 to the negative 16, okay, roughly. What is that number, by the way? if we take the log base 2 of that number, hey, it's negative 52. And so just to confirm that, if I take 2 to the negative 52nd power, I get exactly the machine epsilon. Okay, and so what that means is that if I take something like 1/3, that it's only going to be 0.333333 up to 16 decimals, and then after that it's plus or minus a machine epsilon, and we don't get the repeating 3's ad infinitum. We don't get them forever. Okay, and this is true of any computation that's done in Matlab. So it's important to know about things like this, because while if by hand we were truncating computation at 5 digits, let's say, well, Matlab truncates at 16 decimal digits, roughly. And that's due to this machine epsilon, which is a power of 2. Okay, so let me stop there for a moment, and we'll go into talking about, well, let's see what's next. We'll talk about .m and .mlx files next. We'll talk about plotting and vectorization, and then I'll talk a little bit about for loops and while loops as well. But that'll be coming up soon.